Hey, Dieter.
Hey, John, how's it going?
It took me extra long to find you this time. I don't know why.
Yeah, something about these caves, like the Wi-Fi connection is
I,
terrible and the sound
I
doesn't go through or something. Yeah.
something, yeah, the things set to default, and then you're just heading west, and you
Uh,
didn't mean to, and I don't know.
yeah, well,
Oh, but anyway, here we are now.
it's all good now.
Well, I'm not going to go that far.
Well, it's all back to
Uh,
normal now.
it's situation normal. Yes. How have you been?
Not too bad. Same old mostly.
Something's
Uh,
looking different.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you
I
clip a tooth?
I well, I changed my eye color. See,
Oh, okay. That's it. Yeah, you
they
look. Yeah,
they
yeah,
used
yeah.
to be they used
It's a
to be
lovely
this one
blue.
shade of blue, and now they're a slightly different shade of blue, which you can.
It's Pantone 1089 instead of Pantone 1088.
Well, it's
It's a
1087, but close enough.
it's a
You're
lovely change. It looks great though.
Thanks. What you been up to? Done any gaming lately in the cavern?
Actually, the gaming that I left off with last time, we only just got back to. We had a couple of weeks where we didn't play, and we were being menaced. We had split the party,
Mm-hmm.
and we were being menaced on one side by these giant like vultures, and the other half of the party was investigating this strange pile of rocks that fascinated them for some reason. Although to me it looked like a pile of rocks.
I mean, rocks are pretty
And
boring. Yeah.
well, it turns out there was something that was meant to be trapped under those rocks, so they uncovered it, of course, and we steered up the vultures so that they attacked us. So yeah, we had a good time last night,
Cool.
getting hit on two fronts.
Well, let's see. Last time we talked, I had just started playing in a World of Darkness campaign, which
Oh
we
yeah,
played 3 sessions of and has fallen apart already. So I am once again gameless.
does
However, I
that? I mean, is that basically par for the course for World of Darkness? Isn't it a lot
I
of
I,
backstabbing and
wait,
intrigue
no,
and
we
things?
didn't even
You
we
know,
didn't even get to the backstabbing part. It was scheduling. Yeah, but I want everyone to know I'm available. If you go to startplaying.game, I will run your online DCC game for you.
all right. I
Ah,
actually am on there
so,
too, but I don't want to turn this into a whole plug for startplaying.games.
well, what should we turn this into a plug for? I feel
I
like
don't
that
know,
is our job, isn't it?
I don't know, mon frere. What do you think we should talk about?
Oh,
Maybe DCC?
DCC in French, perhaps.
Oh, oui, oui.
Oui, oui.
Yeah,
The DCC
just
RPG is now available in France. You
in
can
an
order it
outrageous
on
French accent.
with an outrageous French accent. I apologize to all the actual French people who may be watching.
Yes, and
Yes, but
everyone else as well.
well, that too.
But yeah, no, it's not in the Goodman Games store yet, but it is out there in the world
Yes,
somewhere.
you can find it. It's on the website of the company that is producing it. You can order it through them right now. So for
And
anyone who prefers French as their language, or you're just edition collectors, because I know there's a few of you out there.
I should have looked at it, but I imagine the post that announced it has a link to the website.
It does. It does.
Right.
What else we got?
They just announced today the weird dice,
Wild dice.
wild dice. That's it. Excuse me.
what makes them so wild?
Well, it's because they're weird, which is why I called them weird dice. But um, it's like the
Well,
half pound of DCC dice.
wild is like a step beyond weird, even.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah, because it
I'll
says
take your word for
weird.
it. I'll
It
take your
says
word for it.
weird and has wild over the top of weird. So I think it's weirder than weird.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's all the dice found in the dice chain, but it's also a bunch of other dice like D9s and such exotic creatures as that. And it's all randomized and a jumble of colors, and just like the half pound of dice random dice option that's been around for what, 5 or 6 months now, 4 or 5 months.
Something like that.
Came out earlier this year, and now there's the wild. You say wild
Wild
dice?
dice. Wild
Yeah,
dice.
I apparently looked at it and didn't realize the name. Um, but that is in the store now, so that is something you can get, and
Because
it'll tide you over. So you
who
can get
doesn't
your
need it?
French version of DCC.
Who doesn't need a D11?
I don't know.
So
How else are you going to get 1 to 31 on a bell curve, but 3D11 -2? I mean,
exactly.
the
Like
the only way to do it.
there's so many times in my gaming career where I have needed that and it just wasn't available for me.
Events that tend to happen toward the middle of the month, and you're going to roll randomly to see where in the month it is. But you want to lean toward the middle, but
Right.
it could be either end.
Right.
The rent is due or something. That kind of thing.
Right. Your cable payment goes through randomly in the middle of the month. Not on any particular regular day, just randomly in the middle of the month.
Did it get there in time? Let's find out. Yeah. So let's see. So far, we've talked about things we can't show people.
Right.
Should we talk about something we have in our hot little hands right now?
In our hot little hands. What do we have, John?
I happen to have a 5th edition fantasy adventure called Pillars of Pelagia. At least that's how I'm pronouncing it.
I always said Pelagia, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to ask Chris Doyle next time we see him.
Well, we should invite him on so he can be destroyed too. I mean, why not?
We'll get him on here one of these days.
The thing about Pillars of Pelagia or Pelagia, this woman on the front here is very important in what you might call DCC history and DCC future. This is another name I'm not sure how to pronounce. I know how I've been pronouncing it for a decade and a half, but
just go with it.
I say Shalicia.
I accept that.
All right. So Shalicia is the Devil Lich from Crypt of the Devil Lich, but this is her before she became a Devil Lich.
So this is a prequel to Crypt of the Devil Lich.
It's a prequel from Chris Doyle. Now, Chris Doyle, I'm certain, was involved in Crypt of the Devil Lich. I don't think he did it alone, did he?
No, he did not do it alone, but he was definitely involved.
That was one of those multi-author type tournament games.
Tournament, yeah.
Was it like 2005?
Maybe. I don't recall. If only.
Wait, I've got something under a rock here. Here it is.
Oh, there we go.
There's the original Crypt of the Devil Lich. Oh, it was the tournament of 2004, so it must have been.
That's before I even went to Gen Con.
It must have been. It was Gen Con Indy 2004, so it must have come out in 2005.
I think 2005 was the first Gen Con I went to. So.
Well, then that's where you picked this up, right?
So yeah, actually, yeah. So the Pillars adventure, like it's a.
Yeah.
Pelagia is the goddess of the ocean or something, right? Am I correct? In DCC, current DCC lore. But the adventure then it's got a lot of water-based encounters and water-based creatures, including cool things like goblin sharks and awakened kelp. Like most of the 5th edition fantasy adventures that Goodman puts out, it's got a lot of weird monsters that you will not see anywhere else. So even if you don't intend on playing the adventure, it's a good source for monsters that your players won't expect.
And one thing I like about it is it's a vertical exploration instead of a horizontal exploration. So it's a lot of scaling and going up and down and falling and climbing back up, and water's rising, water's falling.
Fun stuff. Aquatic adventures.
It's just a different way to explore. It's not the same old.
And it's got lots of player handouts too, which I always think is cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's like 12 pages of handouts or something. Yeah, close to it, like 11.
So yeah, so buy it because that's our job. Our job is to get you to buy it. I hope we were
Yes,
convincing.
if one person will buy this module, we get to live another day. That's our deal with Emogoth.
That's how it works. Uh, so I have before me a copy of a third-party adventure called Beneath the Giant's Head
Oh
by
yes.
Mark Tasaka. It is a level 2 adventure. It clocks in at 50-ish, 52 pages. So it has the first part of the book is basically the setting. It's got a pretty well fleshed out village, and the thing that I like best about this adventure is that like it's just got a bunch of different events that can happen to characters while they're wandering around the village, like farmers
Right.
asking them for help to do this, or
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of thing. Like I think
And
that is a
and you can drop in as many or as few as you need for your purposes.
right. But then the second half of the adventure is an actual dungeon crawl where you go into these caverns that the dwarves have, dug too deep, as dwarves are wont to do. And it turns out to be not at all what you expect.
Do they uncover something they shouldn't have messed with?
That's my understanding. Yes. However, it is
and,
not a
and
ball.
and
It
then
is
they go
not.
to try to use it.
It is not a Balrog.
No, no, but they they mess around with things they shouldn't, and then they go, well, we can master this, we can
So
control
really,
this.
they're like
Doesn't work
DCC
out that way.
players. They're like DCC players.
Basically, basically, yes, yes.
uh,
And oh, I was gonna. There was something. Oh,
and
I was
it
gonna
is
say also.
it is kind of intended to be a sort of sequel to Fantastic Adventures and the Disgruntled Gong Farmer, which is another adventure that is available.
The setting
In that one's in PDF only, I think.
and the settings
The
overlap is
setting,
what's
yeah, it's
going
the
on.
same. It's the same village, I believe.
And there
Or
is a I was going to say I almost forgot and then I remembered. There's a like a sci-fi vein to this.
yes, yeah, there is a sci-fi, like
So
it combines your fantasy and sci-fi like a lot of good adventures do.
and if you're not into that, you can reskin the sci-fi bits to be fantasy
Right.
bits, but
Or you can just
I
use the
personally
village.
like
You can just use the village part of it. That's fine too.
just use the village. Yeah. But I like the mishmash. I like mashing everything together and science fiction vampires in a fantasy historical blender. Why
Well,
not?
speaking of historical, great segue there,
Oh,
John. The next book that I have uncovered here is called Kingdoms of Africa.
oh
Um,
yes.
and it's a setting guide intended to it's a kind of quote unquote real world Africa with magic and that sort of thing thrown into it. Um, and this book does a great job of outlining different African kingdoms and countries and nations and that sort of thing. In fact, the first half of the book basically is completely system neutral, and it just gives you a rundown on all the different lands and peoples that inhabit this fantasy version of Africa. But then
And
in the
they're separated or broken down by like kingdom or
right,
nation or whatever, right?
right,
So
right, right.
so you could even like pick and choose if you didn't want to use the whole continent.
Right. So it's a great,
Yeah.
like if you wanted to run a more non-European sort of game, this is a great setting for that. Or if you just want to take your standard players to a more um, African style game, you can do that here too. It's an exotic land or whatever your characters want to call it. But
It
then
occurs to
this
me it would be a good thing like if you're using Ningabel's cave from the Lankmar setting,
oh
you can
that'd
go to
be
go to
Uh,
many worlds that way, and then like here's a whole other world ready to go.
Right. Yeah, and then the whole second half of the book is the rules stuff mostly. Like it has a bunch of different patrons and new patron spells. Has a few new monsters and two new classes. One of the
Yeah,
classes is the Felid, which is the cat people,
yeah,
and then the other one is the shaman. And the shaman in this particular class is a pretty cool class because it actually they don't like directly interact with magic. They summon spirits and bind them to do various effects, which is a pretty cool way of handling it.
yeah. I think they're both pretty good looking classes to me.
Yeah, I would definitely use them.
Are there any
Anything?
any monsters in there?
Yeah, there's a couple pages of monsters. There's not a whole lot of monsters, but there are some.
I think I
Um,
saw there was basically a vampiric firefly.
yes, there's a firefly.
Let's see.
There's well, elephants and lions, and a lot of things that I would have trouble pronouncing. So I'm not going to attempt that.
Speaking of monsters, I also cracked open a vein of the Crypto Codex,
Oh, what's that one?
which it's not in 3D, but I'm simulating 3D.
Simulating
Um,
3D.
this is a cool little book of creatures, monsters, NPC aliens, and things of that sort. They vary in style. They are actually dual statted for both DCC and MCC. So whichever flavor you're playing currently, this would cover you for some additional creatures and things to mess around with. There are a number of elephant variants, like if you need mounts or you need something intimidating for some rival warriors to ride in on. Um, one entry that amused me greatly was the Leprechaun, and I'm not mispronouncing leprechaun. It's the Leprechaun and has a Fey rot effect that is going to be fun for your players to deal with.
I think
There are a number of
that should be the next gaming convention we start. Leprechaun.
leprechaun. There we go. Jot that down, somebody. Um, there's a number of weird dinosaurs. So if you got your Mutant Crawl Classics and you want to head into the Land of the Lost, but it's Mutant Crawl Classics version of Land of the Lost, then you've got your weird. I don't know if you can get this one in there, but tentacly weird dinosaurs. And there's other things here too. There's about 50, I think, 50 different monsters, all under one cover for the low price. This version is $19.99.
It comes in
There's,
paperback or hardcover, I believe.
there's also a hardcover version, which I do not recall the price on, but at any rate, it's on the site. It's available now, both versions, ready to go.
Cool. Let's see what else we got here.
I've been seeing a lot of smoke wisping around the caves.
Oh yes, that's because I uncovered a whole bunch of issue 3 of Tales from the Smoking Worm.
Ah, issue 3, you say?
Issue 3, yes, yeah, it's a beautiful little zine, I gotta say.
Now, is
Smells
that
good.
the
Smells
one?
good too.
It's got a nice aroma, huh?
Yeah.
Smoky,
Uh,
with
no, it
a
smells.
woody undercurrent.
It smells like fresh paper. Mm. Hey, wait. Do you hear that rumbling?
Did you? I did. I did. I think
Crap.
we should get
We
out
better
of
get
here
out of
as soon
here.
as possible.
We better
All
get
right, here
out
we
of
go.
here. Emogoth
Here we
is
go.
coming. Ah, it is I, Emogoth, the Danged. Ha ha! And I have here with me. Who are you? Rat?
Trevor Stamper.
Trevor Stamper. What are you famous for?
What am I famous for? Well, I published Tales from the Smoking Worm.
Tales from the Smoking Worm.
That's
Did
right.
you know I used to be a smoking worm?
And then you grew up?
And I had to quit because it gave me asthma.
Well, we can't, suffer addictions forever, right?
I have new addictions. Eating flesh of guests. Oh, did I say that out loud? Hey, tell us about Tales from the Smoking Worm. Why did you decide you needed to do this zine? What does it have that other zines don't?
What does it have that other zines don't? Well, it's got a ton of different types of Dungeon Crawl Classics material in it. We go all over the place, and we even include Mutant Crawl Classics as well. So, we have unique patrons in there, we have unique classes in there, and you've seen those types of things before, but we even have, unique telepathic rats in there. We have lots of herbs. Everybody sees them every day, but you don't know how to use them. We tell you how. Every part of
Smoking.
yeah, you can roll up those leaves. We also have Onward Retainer, which is a comic book strip unique to the Smoking Worm.
Oh.
And we have an in-guide puzzle definition set up. So words you don't necessarily know, those Gygaxian words out there, as some like to call them, we actually have it set up in a crossword puzzle or a word hunt. So you don't have to go to the dictionary. All you have to do is solve the puzzle, and it'll tell you what that word means.
I have minions to solve puzzles for me.
Yep. Well, not everybody does.
They are unlucky. So, tell us about issue 3. What is in issue 3?
Well, issue 3 features a new patron, an Earth Elemental Archomage known as Dornivis, including all of the spells that Dornivis has. It's got tons of art showing you what Dornivis looks like and explaining each spell. In addition to that, we also have the third installment of Culpepper's Herbal, which dips into fungus, right? So we have Death's Head fungus and red agaric, black agaric, things like that. And we have the final installment of our rituals article where we talk about things that are more powerful than spells.
More powerful than spells.
Yep. DCC hints at those, but doesn't actually give you rules on how to do them. And so we provide that extra fill in. In addition to that, we have a monster that you should truly fear, the Tentacular. Multi-eyed floating cat with tentacle arms that loves to grab prey and hide them deep in its warrens so that its children can toy with them until they die.
That sounds horrible.
Well, everybody's got to have a hobby.
Yes. My hobbies. We won't talk about that.
Yep. In addition to that, we actually have something that's really cool in issue 3.
What?
We worked with Janelle Jaquays, who created the original zine, The Dungeoneer. And going all the way back to issue 2, she introduced Beholderkin. And we saw that issue and we realized that would be a great way to bring that material forward into kind of a modern setting. It hasn't been updated since the original Dungeoneer was put out. So it's all first content. So we created Tentacularkin, and working with Janelle, we actually brought back some of the original art that she had done and updated that for a DCC, modern vibe.
How did you make that all work out?
Well, we asked very politely.
I need to learn that skill.
Some people do.
Well, this is a very fancy looking zine. What goes into making an issue of this?
What goes into making an issue of the zine? Well, I mean, it's a complicated process, right? We write the manuscripts, we get them edited and everything. We lay them out, we hire different artists, and we've kind of got a stable of artists we've been working with. Joel Phillips, we've been working with Carmen Vance, Brian Makish, and we've just brought on Jay Tanaka. And
that Diogo, name sounds familiar.
Yep. Diogo Nogueira is in this one. And then I do some art as well. we bring all that together and then we print it in a special way using what's called a risographic printing. We use archival
With
quality.
goblin blood for ink?
Oh, always, right? I mean, that's the only way to go.
Yes. So, what are your plans for the future? How many issues are there going to be?
How many issues are there going to be? Well, I don't know exactly how many issues there will be. I can tell you that we already have material for up to issue 8. So we've been
Whoa.
planning ahead. Issues 4 and 5 should be out, hopefully, by the end of the year. 4 will be for sure. We're going to start adding adventures. We're going to do unique art cards that go with those adventures and everything. So you'll actually have your monsters right there on a card to show players. With the Smoking Worm, what we really want to do is provide kind of the best quality user experience you can, right? And
Right.
so we're looking for things that you can add on to that really bring a lot of elegance to your game.
Dragons bring elegance.
Oh, absolutely.
I am elegance incarnate. Ah!
Sort of a dark, moody elegance, right?
Yes, that's what I said. This issue 3, there's a limited edition and a non-limited edition. Is that correct?
That's right. So the limited edition is limited to only 300 copies, and that's the risographic edition that Goodman Games has in the store right now. Once that's sold out, it won't be redone. And so what we'll do is we'll go to a lesser quality printing. It'll be still good quality, but it won't be the risographic. Those are expensive to produce.
Right. Halfling blood instead of goblin.
Sometimes you just got to downgrade. There's only so many goblins you can get in a small time period in order to print your book. So
I understand. Well, you seem to have a lot of work in front of you, sir.
Absolutely. Oh,
but we love it. I'm afraid I must destroy you anyway, unless you have some pressing reason that I shouldn't.
Well, we were thinking about giving you your own column.
Ooh. No, I must destroy you anyway. Ah! Is he going?
I think I hear the sounds fading. Boy, I don't know who it was that time, but that roar went on a long time.
That was quite a roar. Quite a
It
roar.
was an endless roar, but it's receding into the distance. I think we're okay.
Phew. All right. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning into this episode. Pretty much everything we've talked about is for sale on the Goodman Games store, except the French edition, which is not there yet, but hopefully will be. Right?
You sound like you're wrapping up.
I am wrapping up. Do we have more?
We can't wrap up now. I got a hip replaced for this.
It'll still be replaced for the next episode.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, like Dieter says, everything's on the store right now, except for that French edition, which I imagine is inbound. I just don't know when it's going to land. But there will probably be copies in the store in time for Christmas.
I would hope.
You could get them from Papa Noel, and he could deliver them. I don't know.
That would be a great Christmas. That'd be a great Christmas gift for people trapped in a print mine, just in case anyone was wondering what to get us.
Hint, hint. Yeah, and thanks to our producer Elena, we could not do it without Elena, and that is nothing but the truth. Because
we don't
I can barely turn on Zoom. I don't know.
I'm lucky I can type.
Yeah. Speech is a difficult thing on its own, just right there. Yeah. Did we cover everything?
Yeah, I think we're done.
Say everything we need to say.
Goodbye.
So long. See you next time.